You're listening to Radio Long Island City, recorded at our studios near Hell Gate, 9 kilometers north of the Harbor Hill Moraine. And now, the Observatory. The Observatory, Thursday the 27th of March, 2025. It is 7 days after the spring equinox. It is 85 days before the summer solstice. By the French Republican calendar, it is the 7th day of Germinal, the day of the bouleau, the birch. The sun rises today at 6:47 a.m. Solar noon takes place today at 1:01 p.m. The sun sets today at 7:16 p.m. Civil twilight ends at 7:43 p.m. and nautical twilight ends at 8:15 p.m. The length of daytime today is 2 minutes 42 seconds longer than yesterday. The moon is in its waning crescent phase and is 4% full at midday. The new moon will arrive on Saturday, the 29th of March. These are the predicted tides today for Horns Hook. In the wee hours, low tide, 2:59 a.m., 0 centimeters. In the morning, high tide, 9:20 a.m., 1 meter 58. In the afternoon, low tide, 3:26 p.m., minus 12 centimeters. At night, high tide, 9:48 p.m., 1 meter 65. In our shared realm of plants and animals, mourning doves, whose breeding season has just begun, are notoriously sloppy nest builders. A few twigs casually tossed together will usually do, and they're not too picky about where either. Flower pots, eaves, and gutters are all fair game. Keep an eye out for their nests. If they breed now, they can repeat the act 3 or 4 times before they're done in the fall. Commemorations. On this day in 1713, Spain ceded Gibraltar to Great Britain under the terms of the Treaty of Utrecht. On this day in 1912, First Lady Helen Herron Taft and the Viscountess Chinda, the wife of the Japanese ambassador, planted 2 Yoshino cherry trees on the bank of the tidal basin in Washington, D.C., a gesture of friendship between the two nations and the beginning of Washington's long tradition of cherry blossoms in the nation's capital. On this day in 1964, the Good Friday earthquake struck south-central Alaska. At a magnitude of 9.2, it remains the most powerful earthquake ever recorded in North America. Anchorage was heavily damaged. On this day in 1910, the Chinese poet I Ching was born. A prolific writer, he published under various pen names, Lin Bi, K.A., and A Jia. His works were widely translated into French, German, and English. As a member of the Chinese Communist Party since 1942, he was active during the early years of the People's Republic. However, in the late 1950s, he was denounced as a rightist and sent into internal exile. He suffered terribly during the Cultural Revolution. After that period of turmoil, he was rehabilitated, and by 1979, he was vice chairman of the Chinese Writers Association. I Ching was the father of the artist Ai Weiwei. On this day in 1926, another poet, Frank O'Hara, was born. Not only was he a definitive poet of 1950s and early 60s New York City, he also promoted the work of the abstract expressionist painters. Famous for his I do this, I do that poems, he once wrote, "I can't even enjoy a blade of grass unless I know there's a subway handy, or a record store, or some other sign that people do not totally regret life." Today is World Theater Day, initiated in 1961 by the International Theater Institute. Each year, the Institute publishes a message from a person of stature on the theme of theater and a culture of peace. Jean Cocteau composed the first message in 1962. This year's World Theater Day message was written by the director Theodoros Tertsopoulos. It begins on a somber note. Can theater hear the SOS call that our times are sending out in a world of impoverished citizens, locked in cells of virtual reality, entrenched in their suffocating privacy? In a world of robotized existences within a totalitarian system of control and repression across the spectrum of life. And he closes with a plea. We need new narrative ways aimed at cultivating memory and shaping a new moral and political responsibility to emerge from the multiform dictatorship of the present-day Middle Ages. Quite a bleak message to all of us. And that is the Observatory, Thursday the 27th of March, 2025.